Well, this is huge breaking news. Paul Watson does such a great job ferreting out all the info. We've been to Alan Hart's website, and he's got a lot of our material up there. Seems very favorable to the work we're doing. And the real reason I want to talk to him, you can debate what intelligence agency had the lead role, but when you talk about U.S., British, Israeli, it's all merged at the hip. So I'm not even getting into that area, his speculation on that. And clearly some elements of Israeli intelligence had roles. The bigger, it's admitted ABC News, LA Times, that Israeli intelligence was shadowing and living next door to the hijackers, in some cases where they're landlords. That's a whole other subject. I want to get him on record about the construction firm telling him that it was a controlled demolition. That is the big one. And Watson's done a great job. I think he should probably add the latest information with the Fox News pundit admitting that day he was told they were going to blow up Building 7. And also all that other information. But Kevin Barrett is a great guy, so we'll get him on as well about this very, very soon. I'm going to play a clip of this coming up in a moment, and then David, Roy, Joe, Eric, and others ahead of Walter Burian joining us. But what an amazing story. Top construction firm, WTC, destroyed by controlled demolition. And Watson, you might also add, it's a great article, but the firemen saying there was molten metal, there were bombs going off, the police saying, get back, they're going to blow it up. And also what that Dutch engineer, when he's shown Building 7, saying, that's controlled demolition. Just so people get an idea, this is just basically nuts and cherries on top of the sundae that just pile up and pile up. But this guy is a prestigious reporter and correspondent for BBC, coming out and saying that he was told this by one of the biggest controlled demolition firms out there. This is certainly an incendiary report you've got up at prisonplanet.com. Top construction firm, WTC, destroyed by controlled demolition. Paul Watson.
Yeah, well, the thing to note about this guy is that he's not just a multi-decade Middle Eastern expert who worked for the BBC and ITN. He was actually on the inside and conducted negotiations between people like Yasser Arafat and Shimon Peres. So his close friend, for example, he was close friends with the Shah of Iran, and he tried to negotiate with the UK government to have the Shah of Iran go into exile and live in his country estate. Yeah,
this guy has an incredible pedigree, super high-powered. Quite frankly, he's got the markings of some type of super spy or something. Governments don't usually send journalists out with this level of, clearance. But please continue. This is a big deal.
Yeah. So basically, beforehand, he said he refused to talk about 9/11. Didn't want to say anything about it. And then he came out with a quote where he basically said, "While the world's collapsing, I want to look my grandchildren in the eye and say that I did something." So now he's gone on the record and said that he had the premier world civil engineering and construction firm analyze the collapse of the Twin Towers and presumably Building 7 as well. And they told him point blank that it was a controlled ground explosion, a demolition. He refused to name the exact firm, but he said that they told him that point blank, and he's got no reason to be fabricating it. He's a successful author, has been for years, and now he's broke his silence on 9/11. And also, he goes a little bit into speculation about what he thought happened. He said that the plot was probably started by Al-Qaeda, however you want to define that, and because obviously Israel, since its formation, has infiltrated and controlled Arab governments and Arab militant groups, that they immediately got wind of the plot, went to the CIA and asked them, what are we going to do about this? And basically the Zionists and the neocons said, let's use it, which is exactly what they pronounced in their own Project for a New American Century document the year before, they called for a catastrophic and catalyzing event, a new Pearl Harbor, and that's exactly what they got with 9/11. So he points to the fact that there were 5 dancing Israelis who were originally called Middle Easterners. It later was confirmed by the Jewish newspaper Forward that they were Mossad agents. So, of course, that proves that Israel knew the attack was going to happen. But Hart went further and said that he believes that the planes had been fitted with transponders and the attack was conducted by remote control, which is what we lean towards because, of course, top pilots across the board have said that you cannot fly a massive commercial airliner at 600 miles an hour at sea level, without the airliner, if it's a standard, Boeing commercial airliner, without it breaking up because the air pressure at sea level is so intense, and he's going at 600 miles an hour, the flight that went into the South Tower. And B, these so-called hijackers, alleged hijackers, struggled to even fly basic Cessna-like aircraft. So the fact that they were able to pull off flight maneuvers that would have been outside the skill of, top guns, as many pilots have said, strongly indicates that it was a remote-controlled attack.
Well, for me, the big issue is, does he say, and I haven't even had a chance to read your entire article because they came in and gave this to me and I was scanning over it and we got you on because you're constantly working. This just went up on prisonplanet.com. It'll be up on Infowars.com within minutes. I mean, does he say what, because this is a prestigious reporter, he's got a very good record. Does he say what demolition company? I mean, the biggest is Controlled Demolition Incorporated, or they're one of the biggest, and they were the ones who helped, drag all the wreckage away, not just the World Trade Center wreckage complex, but also Oklahoma City, so clearly involved in the cover-up. I would imagine it's not them. I mean, does he say what company?
No, he says he's got close friends and consultants who work for the world's leading civil engineering and construction firm. He point-blank refused to name it, but he said it was...
Well, I mean, that could be General Electric, too. I mean, when you get up to just overall the biggest building projects, General Electric.
Yeah, he refused to name it, but he said it was the biggest and that his close friends worked for it, and he commissioned them to look at the videos and the evidence, and they said it was a controlled demolition. Probably
General Electric, because if he says construction, not just demolition, yeah, that would be... But there's some other big ones, but I believe... Guys, Google biggest construction company in the world. I know the Bin Laden group's like number 6 or something, but I believe it's General Electric, though they've been divesting some of that. They build most of the big mega dams and other things like that, but they also build a lot of the weapons, the smart bombs. Well, I tell you, we've got the former German defense minister, the former head of German intelligence, the number 2 currently in the Japanese government. We've got all these other world leaders coming out. Saying it's an inside job. We know the government did Gulf of Tonkin. The government was involved in the USS Liberty. I've had all the admirals on. Geist, all of them. Most of them are dead. Moore, I had on a bunch. The former chairman, Joint Chiefs of Staff, they all said the same thing. Israel tried to sink that ship to blame it on Egypt to start World War III with the Russians as basically part of Operation Northwoods, 1967. And that when they launched their jets to go defend the ship, LBJ got on the radio over the phone and said that GD ship's going to the bottom. And that he'd been in control of the ship under a national security operation. Ignoramuses out there go, presidents aren't over ships. Yeah, they're over spy ships in national security, just like they're over Delta Force. And it's on record that he was in control of that spy ship, and it was under McNamara's orders. And a specific black op, just like Jimmy Carter was over the Delta Force and the 79 failed operation into Iran. And that was a setup. I've talked to Delta Force people that were involved. They were set up to fail on that. It says Vinci is the world's leading commission and construction group. Of course, everybody says they're the biggest. I'll have to look at a separate study on that. Whatever, who knows who the biggest construction company is. I want to get him on. And I want to get Barrett on as soon as possible. We're still going to have Walter Burian on. I was going to have him on for 2 hours. I'm going to have him on for an hour and 40 minutes, but I want to go to your calls as promised, get into some other news. Watson, can you believe they're now putting up, they tell you on the news by the transponder, and you're covered by all the toll roads they're on existing roads, but now they're using license plate readers and not even telling you you're on a toll road, and then giving you 1,000, let me read the Houston TV station article, $1,575 fines on an original $1.25 toll. And then now they're announcing all of your roads in England will be pay by the mile, and there'll be no judge, no jury. They're just going to send you magical bills. I mean, Paul, they're admitting Bin Laden fake videos. They're admitting the government grows the opium. They're coming out in plain view and going, okay, yeah, so what? We were going to blow up Building 7. I mean, they're just admitting everything.